critical events, I suppose, or critical times, bring out maybe our personalities because they're forced out. So if someone is, going, say, to the airport on a holiday and they're an hour late, that might bring out some very critical things in their personality that normally don't jump out because it's a highly stressful juncture. They're racing to get to the airport. And at Christmas, I suppose, it's another highly critical juncture because it's out of the norm, it's out of the usual, and therefore it could bring out things in people's personalities that otherwise linger in the background. So philosophically, I'm not sure which one is the real them. I mean, obviously, how the person behaves 90% of the time is them as well, but they may never be tested in the way that they're tested at critical junctures in life. And they can be junctures that, a bereavement or a sad time or a difficulty or a stressful time, or it even can be having a lot to do. And that can be to do with going on holidays too. Because a lot to do. Holidays can be stressful times, seems contradictory, but it can be. And Christmas, supposed to be joyous celebration, festive, can also bring lots of stress. So I suppose what really, psychology would say is we need to all watch ourselves when we're out of the norm, when we're in a situation that's not totally within our control, and when different social things are expected of us that maybe we don't feel quite equipped to deliver. And that really can be around Christmas because there's so many different and disparate social demands made on us that we either don't want to or don't feel capable of delivering on. Only to judge someone by their Christmas Day behaviour, you would be very inaccurate in your prediction of their personality. So it would be a very unqualified and not reliable psychologist that would say, I can tell a person's personality by their Christmas Day behaviour. You can tell something about their personality by their Christmas Day behaviour. So I'm sure a lot of people out there are saying, phew, now, because none of us really want to be judged by our Christmas Day behaviour. Christmas Day could be a day that a lot of people find really trying and stressful because they've got many more people in the room, whether it's psychologically in the room or actually literally in the room. So I think it would be harsh to judge them based on their Christmas Day behaviour. It's a bit of a survival day for a lot of people, and even people who absolutely embrace Christmas and who absolutely love it. There's still things they have to do, they have to deliver, because we put a lot of emphasis on the ritual and ceremony and, if you like, theatre of Christmas Day. And so, whereas in other days, people eat regularly or normally and there's no massive theatre around the meal, there is in our culture on Christmas Day. Also, there is a lot of ritual around family and connection around the same day, and connecting across maybe continents and across time zones. So a lot of those things would make people a little bit more maybe stressful than behaving in stress ways than they otherwise would do. But if they get through the day, and one thing you can tell is how they rate the day afterwards. So most people in their Christmas Day, there's ups and downs, there's highs and lows. But those who rate the day as it went well, it was fun, it was good, I'm glad we had a good time, rather than all the things that went wrong, that's a good predictor any day of what kind of personality style that person has. I mean, do they look at things looking for solutions, looking for what went well, looking for what was achieved, looking for connections that were made, and really seeing those positive things? Or do they instead focus on negative? So I think that would be more the area that I'd say you can tell something about the personality. But even then, I would be loath to and slow to say that's going to be that person the next day. You'll find very different behaviours on Stephen's Day, as we call it, the 26th rather than the 25th in most people. Okay, well, family and Christmas, that's the basic answer. Because family, mostly the people who are in the family, unless it's small children, obviously, and there's less different arguments when there's like small children and parents than there would be. We're talking about parents who have adult children, or adults all in the same room who normally are not in the same room. Now, obviously, in our current climate, there may well be adult children living at home still. So for them, it can be less of a kind of a trial or a task because they're used to living there. But where the real issues occur is where there's siblings returning where they're not normally living, but they're returning to the nest where they grew up. So it's well documented that even on entering the house, even on entering through the door, even on getting those keys out or hearing the sound of that bell, some people will be triggered towards old habits, old rituals, old positions, old power plays, old demons, let's face it. And, they then will either behave in ways that are kind of self-insightful, because they know that about themselves and they know to hold back and they've planned before they go back to. Don't be triggered by the comment of mum or dad or sibling A or sibling B or nephew A or nephew B or auntie A or B. So they need to in advance know who triggers me here, where are the little difficulties, where are the conflicts. I'm not going to rise to it. And the other person who maybe says things that's a joke and is asked, why would you say that? Can get used, oh, sorry, I realise that mightn't be appropriate here. I know we used to do that joshing and messing when we were younger. I'm sorry. So like, it's really because people revert back to the habits and the positions and the personas they had in childhood. It bypasses the intellect. So it's nothing to do with smarts or not smarts. It's just to do with habits that we have and that ritualized day, which kind of corners us into positions that we might otherwise not be cornered into. I could say some kind of very easy and familiar games that everybody likes. And in one way, having a game that's a game from childhood that everybody used to play, that everybody didn't argue on, that could be a good thing because it's familiar. It's a little bit boring. It's not the best game in the world, but you all used to play it. And you all know that no one really fights around that game because everybody likes that game and it's fun. A new game that's about general knowledge or testing what everybody knows or who's best or competitive, to be avoided, because that is people playing best over least good or whatever it might be, and that might be putting someone at a disadvantage over other people. For instance, families who have a game that really tests all people's fabulous insight into, say, mathematical questions, and two people are really not good at that, it's going to be the same old three people who shine. Not a great idea. And even if you think I'm doing it as a joke, not a great idea. So doing something that you all used to do, also going for a walk or something that's really kind of not a competitive thing, or listening to some music and some, be it, Christmas carols or just general music, just things that are kind of relaxing and calming and that are just going to be done for, say, 20 minutes, or watching an old movie that everybody kind of likes, but doing nothing for the whole day or for the whole afternoon, doing short things that most people think are fine, rather than giving 3 or 4 people who speak the loudest everything they like. So trying to be fair, trying to show fairness of people's kind of choices would be a good thing. Well, they reveal a lot about both the employer and the employee. So if we start with the employer, what they reveal is how the employer values the employee body, and the employees see that. So and also how the employer understands the employee body. And sometimes there can be a mismatch in that the employer wants to do something for the employees and thinks that the best thing to do is throw a lavish-ish party. And in fact, the employees are thinking, okay, that does show kind of they want to do something, but what they're doing doesn't fit with the culture of what we as an employee body want. We don't want that. Maybe the CEO or the senior team from another organization used to do this and they're applying it to the new place. So be very careful that your wish to do the right thing as an employer might misfire if you don't really match it to the culture of the organization. It's much better to have an idea back in October what people would like. We have a choice, guys, between having a lunch, departmental lunches, or having an afternoon, this or that, or having a party. Let's look at getting a vote in. Already you've captured more people than you would if you didn't ask that, because they already are being asked. That's good. So, and also from the employer perspective, what it also reveals is how compliant the employer is with legislation and how, sensible and smart they are about protocol. Because it's in the course of employment, all workplace Christmas parties, do's, gatherings are in the course of employment. The employer duty prevails. So you have a duty to make sure that the employees are safe and healthy and well while they're at it and up to the end of it. So I would say ideally have an end time and say it'll be over at 10 folks. After that, the room won't be available, or we won't be facilitating further fun, because that will legally bring you into a space where you are still liable. So have a start time and end time, and employers tell your staff more or less what's going to happen, because you'll have people who are worried about it and won't go if they think we're going to be asked to do karaoke. So make clear what's on. What it tells about the employees is who's kind of capable and smart, and who knows how to read politics of work and who doesn't, because really there is a dress code and protocol, there is a behavioural code and protocol, and there are conversation codes and protocols. It's not a free-for-all. and you can still have fun. So people might think, oh, that means it's Big Brother. It's no, I don't like that idea that we all are still performing. Well, you know what? You perform when you're in work, and you kind of perform when you're in your golf club or your gym or your whatever sports club you're in. So you do need to kind of take on the manners that you would take on in a work-related event. So, and you will tell if you go into any work party, who are the people that get that and who are the people that don't. And I would say that promotions probably correlate with the people who get that and not with the people who don't. The feeling of guilt is an over bloated or over established sense of responsibility for delivery in those people. And now sometimes there can be validity to it. It could be that maybe they didn't get things done at another time and that they feel guilty because they are guilty, or, they didn't get things done and they have a good, strong sense of responsibility. And therefore it's a once-off that they feel guilty for this particular occasion. If it's a general global thing for the person, that they always feel this guilt for taking time off for Christmas, that's anxiety. I mean, in regular parlance, that's a kind of an anxiety-related issue. And I would say to that person, you need to maybe either really sit down and think of why you're always feeling guilty for taking time off, and what it is you think the exchange is between you and the workplace, because the exchange includes taking time off at summer, at holiday times, and at Christmas. So the person needs to reflect on that and then talk to those around them and say, why is it that I feel it and you don't feel it? Can you give me some insight into me? Because we get insight into ourselves, by asking others around us. Like, we get insight into how we look by looking in mirrors, and the people around us are the mirror. So ask the other people, why is it? And then look at anxiety. Do you have anxiety around other issues, other areas of your life? And if you do, then maybe seek out some professional help for that. It could be short-term coaching or short-term therapy or short-term whatever it might be.